Hello, students. This is Mr. Bornheimer, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown on what you can expect for tomorrow's Unit 3 test. Okay. First of all, the Unit 3 test primarily focuses on matter and change. Okay. Properties of matter, physical and chemical changes, things of that nature. Things that you might want to think about for tomorrow's test. Um, Changes or properties. Okay, and these can be broken down into both physical and chemical. Okay, but one of the key characteristics, especially for physical, is the difference between intensive properties and extensive properties. Okay, intensive properties are those that are independent of the amount of matter you have. Extensive properties are those that are dependent upon the amount of matter that you have. So make sure that you understand this idea of properties and changes for both physical and chemical substances, and then intensive and extensive physical properties and changes. Okay, so just make sure that you kind of understand those ideas. Um, you also want to understand states of matter. And with states of matter, and this is very important, please think about for your test why it's important to understand different states of matter and phase changes. There was a diagram I showed you that was a triangle diagram, okay, in the notes, and you can go ahead and refer to that. You're going to want to know that for your test, hint, hint. So just make sure that you know that as well. Okay, so states of matter, phase changes, the triangle diagram. Okay, know those things. All right, other things that you're going to want to know about are mixtures. Okay, and mixtures that are broken both down into heterogeneous and homogeneous mixtures. Okay, so uniform and non-uniform mixtures. You're going to want to know about those. All right, other things that you're going to want to know about mixtures are how to separate them and think the demonstrations that I showed you. Okay, those demonstrations like distillation, sublimation, chromatography, filtration, crystallization. Okay, think about those. All right, so mixtures, the demonstrations that I showed you, uniform and non-uniform, right? All of those things are basically the meat of the test. Now, there is some mathematical components of the test that you might want to practice, or if you haven't already. By watching this video here on Sunday night, you should have already studied for the test, okay? Chapter 3, basically the whole chapter is on this test. You knew that going into it, but I'm giving you a few points of emphasis in case you missed something. One of those things, points of emphasis, would be the conservation of mass. Please understand not only the concept of the conservation of mass, but also the equation, key word there, equation, understand the equation for the conservation of mass. I don't know how many more times I need to say it, but also please understand that how to use that equation and what it means when you're given a problem where you're given a mass of reactant and maybe a mass of the product, and you have to find one of the reactants, or you're given both reactants and you're supposed to find the mass of the product. Okay, so just kind of keep this idea in mind. Okay, please also understand the percent by mass calculations. All right, especially the calculation for water, which we went over in class. Okay, so the conservation of mass, the percent by mass calculation. Okay, please understand those things. All right, and then also for Monday's test, okay, please know how to convert. Okay, conversions will be on there, particularly conversions that deal with things like kilometers per hour, meters per second, miles per hour, things that are like what we call a derived unit, where there's a unit on top and a unit on bottom, and make sure you know how to set it up properly, not just do the calculation, but actually use the factory label method and fractions and things like that. So know these mathematical ideas for the test as well. One last thing that I do want you to know for the test would be the chart that deals with matter. Okay, and I told you when we discussed it, it would probably be on there, where matter is broken down into mixtures and pure substances. And then pure substances are broken down into elements and compounds. Okay, and then mixtures are broken down into homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. And then there's also yet another column of different uh, 6 different boxes. Okay, so keep those in mind as well. All right, so that's the Unit 3 test preview. And if you have any questions, you can email me tonight. Thanks for watching and have a good night.